Hey guys, gals, friends, and neighbors, and strangers around the world. Y'all get ready. Tonight's going to be a special night. I have, in my opinion, the most famous auctioneer in the world. This is going to be live right here. I think I've got TikTok here, I've got Facebook here, and we've got YouTube going to be sliding up the camera right behind us, y'all. But Dan Dotson from Storage Wars. I was talking to Dan the other day. They are on season 16. They're recording season 16 of Storage Wars right now. And he's going to be on. He's going to phone in just a minute. He's going to try to call in exactly at 7 o'clock. We're going to keep this thing as close to a 30-minute episode as we can because Jeremy Buckaloo is going to be on at 6:30 with Sportscast with Jeremy Buckaloo there in the Mike Weatherford Show studios as soon as he gets his 1,000 folks or whatever he's got to have in his 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever Facebook requires. He'll be going live on his own channel. But for tonight at 6:30, as soon as we go off, or 7:30, sorry, 7:30 on God's time. At 7:30, as soon as we go off the air, hop on over there on Facebook, the Mike Weatherford Show. I'm sure they're going to do his. They put all of his stuff up on Spotify and things like that as well. But head on over to Facebook. Sportscast with Jeremy Buckaloo will be on live at 7:30 immediately following this show over on Facebook on the Mike Weatherford Show. But you guys, I'm so excited about this episode. We still got about 4 minutes before the official start time. How you guys like that right there? How you like that right there? That building your bid calling chant LED on. I'm going to give these guys a huge shout out. I'll probably make them several videos. So y'all bear with us. It's still springtime in Tennessee. So when we fire up the studio lights here, the ladybugs or Japanese beetles or whatever they call them come out in full force. But season 16 is what Dan told me that they were recording right now. But this is going to be episode 31 of Answering Your Questions Live from Building Your Bid Calling Chance. So you guys sit tight, grab some popcorn. If you need to go hotbox one real quick, go hotbox one because this thing is going to be fire for 30 minutes. It's going to be fire for 30 minutes. Dan is like me. He could talk to a fence post. And I just hope we can squeeze it all in 30 minutes. I told him if not, he says, what if my wife wants to come on? Because you got to pay the lady. And what if she wants to come on? I said, that's fine. And if we have to cut it off at 30 minutes, that'll give us an opportunity for episode number 2. So you guys, we're going to do our best to catch those comments. I've got Facebook straight ahead. I've got TikTok right here. Tyler's live. We're live right over there, right? We're live on YouTube as well. If you're not following all of those other platforms, go ahead and do it. Junior Staggs here or TikTok Auctioneer here. We're Building Your Bid Calling Chant here, and we're Junior Staggs up there on YouTube. So make sure you're following all of those pages. And you'll get the notifications. I want to go ahead. We've got 2 minutes and do a shameless plug for another one of my ventures. About 2 years ago, sorry, I got to get rid of my Zen, y'all, before we go live. But about 2 years ago, I started a show called Junior Staggs and Friends Live. I've been fortunate to make connections with a lot of folks through Facebook and TikTok. And y'all know I love to write and sing music. So we did a 3-night show at the local fair back in 2023. Did a few more of the shows, and then life kind of got off the train tracks when I lost one of my buddies and my granny within 2 weeks of each other. But we're back on track, and we're going to have episode 1, the official episode number 1 of that. It'll be a 90-minute uncut, recorded in front of a live studio right here in Puryear, Tennessee. The first one, I thought I was going to have a home, but it's not going to work that way. This is going to be a one-night stand, hopefully my last one-night stand. But we have got from Louisiana, innovative music group, recording artist, Caden Wilson. If you guys aren't following Caden, you don't know what you're missing. I started following. He popped up on my TikTok For You page back when he was 4 years ago, I guess, back when he was 17 years old. Here's the man right here, y'all. It's 7 o'clock. Welcome to episode 31 of Answering Your Questions Live. Is this Dan the man?
Hey, it's me, man. How you doing?
Hey, man, I am excellent. I'm excellent. We've just introduced the new episode 31 of Answering Your Questions Live. Been trying to talk you up just a little bit. What do you got going on, man? Tell us a little bit about, you told me the other day you were recording season 16. So tell us a little bit about what's going on, changes that are being made.
We are. We're shooting season 16, and the new shows will be out in the summertime, and they're going to be 1-hour episodes. So it'll be a little bit different than the 30-minute episodes that we've had for a decade and a half. So we're pretty excited about the new format, and we're excited to keep getting to work, and I've got Pay the Lady Laura right here. She just stepped in.
Hey, Laura, don't forget. I told him, don't forget to pay the lady. I was telling Dan on the phone the other day that you kind of stole the show several years ago before I even got in the auction business. I vividly remember that. Was it Louis? Louis was doing the prices right back then. Is that right? When you guys, yes. And you did your thing, and I thought, holy smokes. And then all these years later, here you guys are 16 seasons deep in Storage Wars. That's crazy. So what is it? What is a standard season? How many episodes are in a standard season?
About 20.
About 20.
20 to 26 shows in the past.
Yes, and now that the shows are an hour long,
they're doing 10.
Okay.
It could maybe go up a little more, but I think this season 16 is
what they've done every year is they've shown 2 30-minute shows back to back.
Sure.
Week, and now they're just going to be showing 1 hour-long show each week. So it's kind of the same, but we make money per episode. So
Sure.
I prefer to shoot 26 30-minute episodes than 1 hour-long episodes because the money's the same. But
Is the cast still the same? You got any new faces?
we do have Dustin, Dusty and his wife Lupe. He's a good buyer.
They were introduced on season 15.
Okay.
They came in for a few shows, so now they're regulars.
Okay.
Brandy's still with the show, and Big Ivy, out of Grandma's attic, and he's still with there. And Kenny's at the show, still with the show, and
Sorry, I was trying to turn the volume up, bud, and I powered you off. I apologize. We pivot, man. I tell them that's the most important part is the pivot, but we just pivot, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I guess the first real question that I've got for you is because all of our stories are different. What introduced you or what intrigued you into becoming an auctioneer?
I used to go see my grandfather. His name was Sam Fantry. He was from Northwest Arkansas, and he was a cattle auctioneer. He raised cattle and did farm auctions. And I used to help him back in the 70s. And in 1974, I went to see him another summer, and I said, "Grandpa, I want to be just like you." And I was 11 years old, and he taught me how to auctioneer, and I've just never looked back.
That's
just best gift I ever had.
So you fit that Leroy Van Dyke. I mean, there was a boy from Arkansas, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
How about that?
Well, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty close, man. How about you? How'd you get in it?
I married into it, man. I didn't know anything about auctions. I'd been to one little auction house in a little town called Zip City, Alabama, right on the state line south of where I grew up, north of Florence, Alabama, when I was probably 5. And I remember it because I thought the auction, this is how my little 5 or 6 year old mind thought. I didn't think the auctioneer was talking fast. I told my mom or asked her, "Is that guy sitting on a block of ice because his teeth are chattering like he's really, really cold?" I didn't think he was talking. I thought he was just going 1, 2, I just thought he was cold. So she brings that up now. But then 20 years ago, about right now, I kind of quit Walmart without notice, and that was kind of my dream job. I always wanted to work the sporting goods store counter, and I got to do that in 2 different locations in 2 different states, and was working in the management, and I didn't like the way things are moving, and so my wife's uncle, he started his business in 1984, and he says, "How about you just come to work for me?" And I thought, okay. I just started packing boxes, y'all. That's packing boxes. Never intended. I was going to college studying public relations. Never dreamed that I'd be doing this, but the good Lord's been good to me.
You're quite a natural at it, and I would think that would be a perfect fit for you, man.
I love it, and what I love about it, man, and I guess you can attest to this too. I don't like the mundane. I don't like that 9 to 5. We do the same thing every single day. And in 20 years of doing this, I don't know that I've ever had 2 days in the auction business. Some are similar, but I've never had 2 that are exactly the same.
That's the truth. Boy, what a great way to look at it.
I couldn't afford to be a regular employee, I think.
No, I'd lose my mind.
Yeah. I just known this, and this is just what I do, and and I'm just super thankful and super blessed that our companies are pretty successful and our shows successful, and it's just kind of nice being able to do all this, and what we love. My grandpa told me. I'm sorry, babe.
No,
My
right.
grandpa told me a long time ago. He goes, if you'll have a good time auctioneering, he goes, you'll be one of the best auctioneers out there, and you just have to have a really good time doing that.
There you go.
And I used to ditch school and go down to a Chino auction, and Bob Bentley. If I whipped pigs for 2 or 3 hours, I could sell goats for an hour.
Sure.
And he came to me one day after a few months of doing that, and he goes, "You got to just stop with the jokes, Danny." He goes, "Just talk numbers and nothing else."
That's right.
And right then I thought, man, this is not where I need to be because I'm not having fun anymore. So I left.
Yeah.
What Danny did is he kind of put the old age art of auctioneering, and it's an incredible, deal. He put maybe a little California twist on it or something that, made it so interesting for the television that they had never really seen anything like
Sure.
this, and it's just an underground world of auctions that people go, you know what? It's not all glitz and glamour, and there's all sorts of things to be sold. And it was really, Danny's bread and butter. He's selling storage and he's selling stuff, and
you never know what's in the box. I think that's the biggest secret with Storage Wars.
Very intriguing.
Is you just never know what's going to come out of the box, and they actually had that up on the wall of the studio when we first went up. It said,
"What's in the box, stupid?"
Yeah, what's in the box, stupid? Posted up on the wall.
Yeah, so we remembered it every time.
I didn't want anybody to forget while we're there.
And that's kind of, it's almost like Easter every time, or Christmas every time the phone rings, because you don't, do you guys, I do, I'm a general practitioner. I'm in a small town, mostly estates, but I got a call the other day when I looked at one, it was a machine shop. I never know what's going to happen when I get there. I never know the people I'm going to meet. And for the most part, there's an SOB in every crowd. But for the most part, everybody that I work with, my clients, my customers, for the most part, everybody, they're great people, and a lot of them are just like us. They've especially these business owners like that guy. He was like 72 years old, was getting. He had retired and was getting ready. He was planning for the future. He didn't want his kids to have to worry about it, and it was one of those things you could see there was some emotion tied to it because this was his life for so long. And then when you just say, listen, man, we're going to take care of you. We're going to market this thing. We're going to get it out there. We're going to join every group we can and get it in front of the folks that need to see it. It's not going to be a fire sale. We're not going to throw a sign up the day before and just hope that we get people there. We're going to invite if I learned anything from my old partner, it's probably the simplest rule of marketing. If you're going to have a party, you have to send out invitations.
That's right.
And you guys, I'm sure you guys have built a following to where the invitation doesn't have to be that big or that wordy. You can just say, hey, we're going to be here. But still, you have to send out those invitations, right?
Yeah, you do. You have to stay on top of that. And whenever you start getting, last days, about doing stuff, then you're gonna fall on your face, and that's not what you don't want to sell somebody's business or something they've had for 40 or 50 years and just not have a good crowd or just give their stuff away.
Exactly.
That just never bodes well.
Yeah. So we all know you guys from the TV show selling storage units, but is that your bread and butter, or do you do other auctions as well?
We do other stuff. We just finished up a
really great collectible and a machine
big
shop.
machine shop
Okay.
in Bullhead City, and it was collectibles and these big dyno machines that were hundreds of thousands to replace. And
set of buyers.
And before that, we did a tube bending shop with collectibles. So
okay.
I might have found my niche, man. It might be like collectibles and machine shops. I don't know.
Hey, I got called a pots and pans auctioneer as a derogatory statement a few years ago, and then again a few months ago. And I'll just be honest with you, I enjoy selling pots and pans and collectibles and things like that. And it's nice when you get a farm or you get a house to sell, but those pots and pans, there's still folks out there. If you'll get out and do the research, probably 6 weeks ago, we did an auction for an estate about an hour away, and he had a trunk full of vintage late 50s, early 60s Boy Scout stuff. And there was one and I told the lady, I said, I don't know anything about Boy Scouts, but I know how to market. And we joined some Facebook patch collector groups sent to 14 or 17 states, and one of those it was like $700. It was crazy, and I'm like, holy. And she said that one patch brought more than I thought everything would. And I was like, I'm gonna be honest, me too. You know?
It's a surprise. You never know.
That brings you right back to you got to invite them if you want to.
That's exactly right.
For the right saddle.
That's right. You got to find the right butt for the right saddle.
Now, and you guys are based in California, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
But you do these storage auctions everywhere, right?
Yeah, we have an online system called storageauctions.net. It's the only one on the network, and we do nationwide storage auctions on that. And we got about 340,000 subscribers, and I don't know, 300 or 400 sellers that put their stuff on there, and it's growing. It's growing all the time.
And then American
So that's
Auctioneers, of course.
American Auctioneers, but on your storage auction side with your online storage, you guys are going direct to the owners of the facility, and they're just listening at using your site.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Just providing the platform, they're collecting their own taxes, they're doing their own thing, and we just charge the buyers a dime, and that's how that works.
And then our live auction goes through American Auctioneers, and we still do storage. We do the warehouseman liens. We do the abandoned properties. You name it, estate sales. We have another one coming up right now in Canyon Country, and it's a bunch of
British cars.
Really?
British cars up there. I don't think they're worth anything. And Garrett goes, well, those are Jaguars and BMWs, and yes, we can do something.
They're kind of trashy looking, but there's some value there. And she's got three of these ocean containers full of East Lake furniture.
Yep.
And
What's in the box?
and
I
lunch
didn't
boxes.
know what was in there, so we're opening up stuff. She goes, I had no clue. And this one whole thing was full of 1960s and 70s and 80s lunch boxes and just a bunch of eclectic, crazy stuff that people are going to be excited to buy. So,
I love it.
It's fun. It's fun for us to do stuff that's different,
And our son is a fourth generation auctioneer, and he has been, doing this with us for a while, but he's finally got enough nerve to get out there and auctioneer. And I told him, you don't have to be like Dad.
Yeah.
You can do it and just talk it and walk it through like I do.
He's doing a good job with it.
He's doing a great job.
He's not afraid of anything.
No.
When he was 10 years old, I made him be an auctioneer.
That's
said,
right.
Look,
You're going to sell your
you got to be an auctioneer. You can't be anything else. And that's just that. And I just pounded that at him.
I think I want to be a
Finally, he was about 10 years old, and I said, you don't have to be an auctioneer anymore. You do whatever you want to do. And he looked at me. He goes, good. I want to be a WWE wrestler. And I said, great. Be a WWE wrestler. But now he's 27. He's out doing sales. He's doing a good job with it. He sees the value, and he appreciates his mom and dad and his family history and lineage. And so he's doing pretty good.
We made him work in the office and learn everything for a few years before he, before he really felt comfortable about going out there. And he's been getting headed out there, and he's working. He says, hey, people are coming up to me telling me I'm doing a great job, and I do a better job when you guys aren't around. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, that was my biggest thing. See, I had to overcome some extremely debilitating stage fright and clinical anxiety. I mean, the thought of standing in front of people scared me to absolute death. I mean, when I, of course, my old partner, my wife's uncle, see, he started the business. He had been working for Sears back he probably had 20 years in 1984. And he had built some time up, and he just wanted to be a horse auctioneer. He was a cutting horse guy. He wanted to be a horse auctioneer. Went to auction school. His son graduated high school in May. My wife was born, I think, on their anniversary in August. And then the day of his first auction, I think it was the 11th or the 12th of September, the day before his 18-year-old son bought a motorcycle, and that morning died in an accident. And he had all the reason in the world to leave. He had all the reason in the world to leave, to say, nope, I'm not going to do this. But you guys know, you mentioned the fourth generation. This thing is like farming. It's like there are not many careers that are generational, but auctioneering is one of them. So he knew my wife was going to teach. That's what all the women in that family do, and they're really good at it. So I'd been helping him probably 2 years. It was about this time 2 years ago, and I could take you to the exact spot. And I was like, hey, what do I have to do to become an auctioneer? And he goes, I didn't think you were ever going to ask. So he said, I'll pay for it. We'll do whatever. He paid for it. Hotel was booked. Class was paid for. And on the Thursday night before I was supposed to leave, I went over and I said, dude, I didn't sleep last night. I can't do this. And he just looked across the desk and he goes, listen here, Hoss, failure is not an option. And I thought, well, if you look at it that way,
Yes.
right?
And the rest, as they say, is history. I mean, I went down, got elected class president, and now we own an auction school. Who would have dreamed that 18 years ago? Definitely not me, you know.
Great. What a great story. I love that.
Garrett, I taught him how to chant when he was young or
Yep.
whatever. But,
Yes.
I got another friend of mine, Rod Burnett out of Canada, and he has an auction school also.
Yes.
And I just thought, well, maybe if it's coming from a different direction, maybe Garrett will pick it up. So I called up Rod and I said, hey, could you send me out one of your auction school things? He did. And Garrett,
Studied it.
just studied the hell out of that. And,
Did it.
and now here he is. So I owe Rod a big thumbs up.
That's
because
right.
he did
Well, I've
so
never
well.
met Rod. I used to see him a lot in some of the auctioneers group before they kicked me out of all of them. But that's another show. But I've never met him. But I've seen him active in those. What is the name of his auction school up there in Canada?
Is it Global Auctioneering?
I think so. You're right. I think you're right. Global Auctioneering.
Global.
And see, that's what I love about it, man. Our little boot camp, we had I've had two different guys come in from Canada. One came in from a little town called Midway, BC. One came in from Vancouver, and we've had folks from all over the country come in from all experience levels. So the world is flat now, and of course we can do some things online or virtual, just like what we're doing now. And it's this wasn't. I mean, wasn't even on the radar 18 years ago when I went to auction school. So that was our big thing. Was we wanted to kind of prepare folks for what would be coming, not what has already come to pass. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes.
So
Now you have an auction school now, right? What's the name of that?
Auctioneer University.
And what state is that in Tennessee?
We're based in Tennessee. We do everything. My headquarters is a little double-wide trailer that used to be a rental property of mine, and we built a 30 by 40 building on the back, and then we just got through building a 40 by 60 building. And I tell you what, if things keep going the way where they're going, we'll just keep growing and growing. You may be able to see this place from outer space before too long. So,
Right.
there was a fella, I don't know if you ever heard of him. Surely you did back in the day with your granddad being a cattle auctioneer. But there was a fella named Gordy Hannigan out of Illinois. And Gordy is just a little small farming town there in Illinois, north central Illinois. And he started this place called Gordyville, USA. Huge building. They do horse shows in it. They do tractor pulls in it. They do auctions in it. But that's kind of how I was with the boot camp when I moved it here. We used to do it at a state park, and they tore that hotel down. So we just converted this little rental property into an office, and we took the master bedroom, turned it into like a conference room. And I was kind of like, if you build it, they will come. And we've had over 100 folks from all across the United States and Canada come in from all walks of life and all experience levels, and it's been a blessing.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm real proud of you, man. You've done really well. You're doing great for yourself, and you're great for the industry.
Well, I sure appreciate that, man.
The industry needs a good positive outlook for the industry, and that's you, man.
Well, it's sometimes I'm a little country or a little hillbilly, but hey, they wrote a song about that guy, right? He was a hillbilly auctioneer. So that's what I'll keep doing, y'all. Because all I can be is me. I can't be somebody else. As my daddy would say, I is who I is. I mean, I can't help it. If I'm a little too country for you, then maybe you need to refine your palate, because this is what you're going to get.
They might just say that guy's got a lot of sauce in his mouth.
Oh man.
Love it.
I have a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and ninth cousin named Phil Bollinger in Hinesville, Arkansas, and he's also an auctioneer and sells real estate and farm auctions. Very successful guy. I belong to this motorcycle club called the Punishers. It's a law enforcement motorcycle club and military,
okay,
environment. It's like-minded thinkers like myself. So we take a 2,700-mile motorcycle trip to Arkansas, and we stay in Cousin Phil's barnuminium, and it is beautiful, man. He just built this thing. It's like $850,000 barn with a big, huge house and barn.
Yes, sir.
In it, and man, he hooked us up, and shit, we got there, and he brought in like 10 or 12 pizzas. Next morning, we had eggs and bacon. And
yes, sir.
Barbecue and
So what did you say? What did you say his name is?
Phil Bollinger.
Phil Bollinger, and is he there in Northwest Arkansas?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I don't know. I was real active with that association. Got to win that contest a couple times, but I don't know that I've ever met him. I'll have to look him up next time I'm out there.
Yeah.
So
The best guy. Like when you talk to him, you'll become like his best friend. He's just truly a wonderful, knowledgeable guy.
You guys will probably have a lot more in common than you believe, but
you'd love him.
Yeah, you'd love him. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. We had a lot of stories. He lives in a lot of our family, homeland there in Northwest Arkansas, and we've been related on both sides of the family for 200 years or something. And he has every story about every family member. I mean, he shows me a picture of this old dude. And then he says, okay, the bushwhackers killed him right over there, and he points a few miles off. And he said when the bushwhacker killed him, he wasn't quite dead yet, and his wife built a rock wall around him so the hogs wouldn't eat him. And he told his wife, he said, when the boys get back in town, you make sure that they kill that bushwhacker up there. So that's the first thing they did in the 1860s when they got back is they killed the bushwhacker.
Oh my goodness! I love those stories, man. And see, but that's really, y'all. I don't know if you guys watch American Pickers, I haven't watched TV a lot in the past few years. But back when I was watching it, I think I enjoyed the people that they met as much as I did the pick itself, because and they did one with Miss Cookie Lockhart, and that was just so much fun. And if you've ever had a chance to sit down and break bread with her, that woman is a wealth of knowledge, and those folks are everywhere.
I follow her on Facebook, and I like a lot of her stuff. And she was on the American Pickers, I believe.
Yes.
Maverick.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get her on store tours.
Yes,
hey,
we are.
I tell you what, she would be honored, I believe. She of course she's getting up there. I don't know exactly how. You're not supposed to ask, and I never ask her, but she's getting on up there in age. But I tell you what, she's still as doggone active as she ever was.
Oh, right. I believe that.
You see her posts, and
she throws a lot of stuff out. She's always doing something somewhere.
It would be an honor to meet her.
Yeah.
She's good people. And that's one of the things, I guess, probably one of my favorite parts about the past 10 years of traveling the country and speaking and competing and doing all this is you get to meet. Of course, I guess I'm an old soul. I'm drawn to those older auctioneers. My buddy Doyne Lenhart, one of my old CAI classmates, father. Mr. Doyne, he was probably, I think if he wasn't 90, he was really close to 90 when he passed just this past year. But he had gone to college to do animal husbandry. He was going to raise hair sheep. And while he was out there, I guess somebody got him turned on to, or he probably attended an auction, and then he came back and built a true empire there in right on the border with Illinois and Indiana. At one time, you talk about marketing. This guy at one time, I think, owned 5 different newspapers back in the peak of newspaper. So you weren't going to outprint this guy. And when I met Kerry back in 2014, we were doing that CAI program together at the University of Indiana, or Indiana University there. And, that was the first time I'd ever really got to spend quality time with somebody who not only was doing online auctions, they had been doing computerized clerking since the late 90s. And so I was still, the company, that I started with, they still do paper tickets. I mean, so it just, and I was like, with your dad being older, did he have a hard time with that? And he's like, no, he saw it at an event like this and saw it work, because that's one of those things. And I try to do that. I started a class called Online Auctions 101, and we've got that domain, onlineauctions101.com, because I know from personal experience, it's the unknown that is the most challenging thing. So, if I go walk somebody through that process and show them that, I've been called a sellout because I do most of my auctions online, but I'm also raising 3 girls. I've got girls that are 17, 13, and 16, and that first, 12 or 13 years I was in the business, I missed a lot of stuff,
Sure.
So we can go to the aquarium in Atlanta, or we can be at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, and I can still be closing an auction. It's made the world flat. So we like to help folks. We like to help folks out. So
it's a good thing. You've got a lot of good energy. So you're going to need it with girls in that age range. I don't know whether to say congratulations or I'm sorry.
Well, God's got a funny sense of humor. I tell people all the time. When I was in college, all I wanted to do was wake up with a house full of girls. And be careful what you wish for, guys, because I get to do it every single day.
Yeah.
And they leave the lights on every morning. They leave the lights on. So but I love chasing them. I love coaching them, and I love raising them. They're special. They're special.
That's wonderful.
You bet. I've got boys, and I've always thought man, a girl would be great, but
I said,
just wasn't in the cards. But
I got to hold out for a grandchild then. Hopefully a granddaughter.
yeah, maybe we'll get a granddaughter one of these days.
Well, listen, man, I could talk to you all night long. It's 7:24. I've had you on here 25 minutes. I can't thank you enough for phoning in. If you want to do this again sometime, man, if I have to fly out to California, if I have to fly out to California and we set this thing up and do a live interview, we'll figure this out. But this has been fun. We started this little thing here, y'all, 8 years ago in the cab of my truck. I was bored coming home one night from about 2 hours away from home, had been getting an auction ready, and folks that were reaching out to me, I'd started competing and they wanted tips or whatnot. And so I called my mom, called my granny, called my wife. Nobody wanted to talk. And I was like, hey, I'm just going to go live on Facebook. And that turned into the first 27 episodes. Well, then that's when me and my old partner kind of split. And then we went through COVID and we were having to, try to learn how to live again. And then all of a sudden, I got to talking to one of the guys. He's been helping me for quite a while, but he's helping me pull a little more weight now. And he's like, hey, he said, you should have a podcast. I said, why don't we fire up answering your questions live again? And you guys are helping us kick off this episode 31 has been kind of a revival, if you will, to kind of get this thing back up and going. And I cannot thank you enough for calling in tonight.
Love that.
Come to Southern California. You come up the mountain, and we'll do one of your shows up on the mountain.
I was in San Diego in June, man, for Ducks Unlimited. Spent 2 days. I forget the name. There's a little Indian reservation there. What's the Ramona?
Yeah, that's down in San Diego area.
I stayed in Ramona with a friend of mine I met through TikTok. Spent 2 nights with him. He took me around. He showed me all the sights. And he works for, I think is it Superior Concrete? Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
He works in the quarry at Superior Concrete, digging this earth in a big excavator. And it took me out there, toured me around that, took me bass fishing in one of the little lakes there. We had a blast.
That is true hospitality. I'm so glad to hear it that, California's treating you right.
Well, listen, before we go, are y'all going to sell us something before we go?
Tell us, what do you got?
All right, here we go. Number 20. What are you going to pay? Say, how much you're going to be, and what are you going to pay? What are you going to be? Tell me, and here we go. How about $25? What about 25? What about 35? What about 35? What about 50? 50? What about 75? How about 62 and a half? What about 75? What about 87 and a half? Going once, 87, 7 and a half. What about 87 and a half? Going twice. All in all through Walter on that. Guess what? You bought it. Then I had to find by the auction cry. Tell a friend that Dan Dawson told it to you for $75.
And don't forget to pay the lady.
I love it, man. I love it. Listen, this has been a great episode. Thank you so much. You guys take care, and we'll try to come out there sometime and do this. I'd be honored.
We'll do it anytime you want. Just call me.
Listen, man, y'all take care. Enjoy the rest of the daylight. You guys have got 2 extra hours on us, so enjoy it. Take care.
Yeah, but we have a 3-hour drive ahead of us. So
all right.
It all works itself out, right?
Well, listen, man, thank you both so much. We sure appreciate it.
Right we had a great time, and this was sure fun, and thank you for thinking of us and putting us on your show and kicking it off right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Catch you later, man.
Bye-bye. So there it was, guys. How my goodness. How could you get, does it get any better than that? Oh, my goodness.
Be careful what you ask for.
I know. Hey, look, my buddy Dustin Rogers made a post the other day, y'all, that said something about asking, seeking, and knocking. And I cannot tell you how much asking and seeking and knocking I've done the past few weeks. And so far, every door that I've knocked on, he's opened up for me. You guys keep asking, keep seeking, and knock it out of the park. We're going to see y'all not next week because it's Easter. I've got 2 auctions on Saturday. I got 1 on Thursday. Got the show on Friday, 2 auctions on Saturday, an auction closing online on Easter Sunday. We're not going to be doing the show. Spend the time with your family. We'll be back the Sunday after Easter with episode 32. Right now, it's 7:29. Get over on Facebook Live, The Mike Weatherford Show. Watch Sportscast with Jeremy Buckaloo. We'll see y'all next time.